Welcome to this session number 14, Introduction to Statistics, Visualizing Data with the Charts and Graphs. So in this session, our focus will be frequency polygons. So this is also another way of representing the quantitative data. So this is about me, and this is my LinkedIn ID. So you can connect me on LinkedIn. And these are all the ways we can organize the data: quantitative, qualitative, and numerical data. So in this session number 14, our focus will be frequency polygons. Frequency polygons, like a histogram, it is also a graphical representation of continuous class intervals, right? So it is also like a histogram. So we use only continuous class intervals. Okay, so this should be continuous. Okay, and the second one, we plot the data. So here we take the ordered pair x comma y. So this x will be the class mark and y will be the frequency. That means in this frequency polygons, what we do, we plot class frequencies with a corresponding class midpoint or class mark. So class midpoint is nothing but a class mark, right? So then if you connect these dots, so we should connect these dots in the form of line segments only. Why? Because they are polygons, right? Polygons are nothing but a closed figure which is made up of only line segments, right? So what is a polygon? You know, right? A polygon, polygon is nothing but it is a closed figure which is made up of line segments only, right? So it should be a closed figure and it should be a line segments, right? So generally what we do, we take the class midpoints or class marks along with the x-axis, horizontal axis, and we take the frequency along with the vertical axis. Vertical axis is nothing but a y-axis. Clear? So you can see here, these are all the examples of frequency polygons. So if you see here, there are two ways we can construct the frequency polygons. The first one is here, you can see here, it is a combination of both histogram plus this line segments, right? And here if you see here, we have only the line segments. So whenever you are constructing the frequency polygons, you can follow this method or this method. So generally, after getting the good practice, we use this only. Directly we construct the line segments instead of constructing the histogram, then going for the frequency polygon. We just directly construct the frequency polygon. So how we construct these frequency polygons here in the first figure, if you see there, you can see right, there is a histogram, then the points are connected. So right, so whenever if you want to construct a frequency polygon, first draw the histogram. Then what do? You take the midpoints of each rectangular bar. So here this is the rectangular bar, this is the first rectangular bar, and then I am taking the midpoint of that. So that will denote the midpoint of the class interval 14 to 16. And similarly, if you take the midpoint of this one, it is denoting the midpoint, the class mark of 16 to 18. So here this midpoint and this midpoint and this. So if you join these midpoints with only the line segments, then you are getting, so this complete figure, this complete diagram is nothing but a frequency polygon. So here, and one more thing you should keep it in mind, that as I said, it is a polygon. So polygon is a closed figure, right? So here, whenever if the connection, the line segments is not closing the figure, so you should make it close. How? So let's say here the points are A, B, C, D and E, right? So our class intervals are starting from 14 to 16. This is the starting one, and the end one is how much? What is the class interval? End class interval 22 to 24. Now here the connection is only till here. So but I want to close the figure, right, such that it looks like a closed figure. So what I will do, I will take one more class interval just before the starting one. So what is the class interval start before this? 14 to 12, right? So this is the class interval. And now you take the class interval after the final also, that is 24 to 26, right? So these are all the class intervals you should consider to make it the polygon is a closed figure. So after taking these class intervals, so then you should be thinking about the what would be the frequency, right? You always consider the frequency should be 0. So the frequency should be 0. So if I consider here, this is a 14, so then the next point is here 12, so therefore the frequency is here. Then if you join this one, this is a point, right? Let's say this is the F. And similarly here it is 24, and then I am taking 26 here, so join these two, right? So then you are getting a closed figure. So let's say this is G, right? So therefore the closed figure is F, A, B, C, D, E, G, F. So this is the frequency polygon. Similarly here also, here we are till drawn here only A, right? Till A, let's say G are the end points and starting point. So I want to make it close. So what I will do, here it is the 14.5, right? You just take the class interval just before this here and just after the last one. Then it should be with the frequency 0, right? So then if you join here the frequency, then it would be looking like this, right? So then it is your closed figure, so therefore it is a frequency polygon. Okay. So here you don't see, it is not necessary, but generally we connect the end points also to with a class interval with a frequency 0. So that is the general way, or else you can keep it this is also general way of using general way of constructing the frequency polygon. There is no harm in that, but according to the definition of polygon, and it is a closed figure which is made up of line segments, so we want to make sure that our figure should be a closed figure. So for that purpose we are taking the extra two class intervals with the frequency 0. Clear? So now let us know how to calculate the class midpoints or class marks. If you see, in the starting, when I'm starting this videos on the introduction to statistics, while defining the some terminology related to the statistics, I defined class mark, right? How we can find the class mark? You just take the sum of upper limit and lower limit and divide with 2. So therefore we can find the class mark or class midpoint for each class interval. So here the first class interval is, what is the class interval? 140 to 150. So here 140 to 150. So in this, what is the upper limit? 150. And what is the lower limit? 140. So then how we can find the class mark? Class mark is nothing but a sum of upper limit and lower limit, then divide with 2 always. So therefore here it is how much, 290 divided by 2, so it will be 145 is the corresponding class mark for this 145. And similarly, if we find here 150 plus 160 divided by 2, so which is equal to 310 by 2, so how much you will be getting? 2 ones are 2 fives are 2 fives are, right? So 155. So then next is very easy to write down. Instead of calculating like similarly how we done, at least you should find for the first two class intervals the class mark, then you just observe the gap between them. So 145 is the first class mark and 155 is the class mark. What is the gap between these two? 10, right? You just add that 10 to the next, so then you would be getting the next class mark 165, 175, 185, 195 if the class width of all the class intervals is same. If class width are not same, then you should do it manually by using this formula. Clear? So that is it. So once after calculating the class marks, then the next thing is to construct the frequency polygon. So now here what I said, so we take the coordinate plane xy plane, right? So along with the horizontal, so this is x-axis, we take the class marks. So here as I said, if you like the number itself, it is starting from 145, right? But here it's supposed to start from 0. So as I said, you use the symbol king such that all the values are there already. Here the values are there but we are skipping, so therefore I am taking here it is from 145. So this is 155, 165, 175, 185, 195. Okay. And then you take the frequencies along with the y-axis. So the frequencies are 5, 10, 20, 9, 6 and 2. So I am taking the scale of 2. It is up to you. You can take the proper scale 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 and 20, right? So now you just to connect these, so this is x and this is y, so your ordered pair will be 145 comma 5 and 155 comma 10 and 165 comma 20 and so on and so on. Okay. So the first ordered pair is 145, 145 is x number and 5 is y number. So here uh, x is, so here this is the first one, right? First dot, so this is one. And the second one 155 10, 155 10, so this one second dot. And third 165 20, 165 20 is this. Okay. And 175 9, 175 9 is here. Okay, 9. And 185 6, 185 6 here, so this one. And 195 2, 195 is 2. So now what you do, you just join these two with the scale, with the help of scale, such that it looks like a line segment. Don't to draw it a curved way. This one, this one, it should look like a line segments. So let's say give the name A, B, C, D, E, F. So this is the frequency polygon. But as I said, generally what we do, we close the figure. So that is the general way of drawing the frequency polygon. So for that, what I need to do, here it is 145, you just take the before one 145. So how much it is? It would be 135, and then you take after this, so 195 plus 10, right? So how much? 502, right? 205. Now these frequencies should, these class marks should be with the frequency 0, right? So therefore connect this, connect this also. So then it is a closed figure. So you just give the name, so FGH. So therefore your H, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, again go back to the starting point H. So this is a closed figure. So this closed figure is nothing but a frequency polygon. Clear? So if you draw it properly on the graph sheet, it looks like this, right? So it should, the first thing you should keep it in mind is that find the class marks, right? Then represent these class marks along with the x-axis. Then already you have the frequencies, so that you put along with y-axis. Then you just construct, right? So then you just join them with the line segments only, line segments. Okay, so that is the way to construct. If after drawing that, to make it closed figure, what we do, we take two extra class intervals or class marks with a frequency 0. So that you should keep it in mind, right? So that is the, this is the way to construct the frequency polygons. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so thank you, thank you so much. We'll meet in the next session.